Another question. This is from Karen George, so thank you, Karen. How would you go about increasing membership? And the second part to that, what other sectors or professions would you engage with? So that's how would you go about increasing membership, and what other sectors and professions would you engage with? I'm just seeing who I haven't started with yet. Who should I pick on? Okay, if we go to Maria first.
Let me finish writing.
Sorry,
I love writing.
You carry on writing.
No, it's fine. How do we go about increasing membership? By bringing back all the people that have left, for a start. And there are quite a few of them. Or at least I seem to know quite a few of them. And the people that we are throwing out at the moment, by not listening to them, by not being proactive with their needs, by disengaging international members, for example. And I know I'm going to talk a lot about that, but this is one of the things that I feel very passionate about. International members' subscriptions are not in line with everybody else's, so we are disadvantaging people. So I don't think we can recruit people from outside and we can bring people from other professionals into CILIP until we have sorted out CILIP first and we have quieted all the voices of the former CILIP members who have left the solution by what we're doing. I don't work in libraries anymore. I do lots of work in libraries, pro bono work with the African Prisons Project and work with IFLA and other things. But my first job, the job I get paid to do, is not in libraries, but I'm still a CILIP member, a very active CILIP member, and I hope that the reason why people have left CILIP is not because they have left the profession because of the current climate. Is if you are happy, you continue to be in CILIP membership, even if what you do in your day job is not related to libraries. I think the reason why some members have left is because, as I said earlier, the solution, CILIP is not delivering what they need to do. So my answer is that before trying to recruit members from other professions and trying to engage with them, I think we need to sort our own house out and make sure that everybody else that have left will be welcomed, and that the new professionals that are coming up are included, and that they feel that CILIP is doing something for them. And then we can continue with the others. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much. Liz, I'll pass over to you.
Yeah, I'd like us to do some work on some sort of alumni or profiles or website that has some of our really high-profile people on it, something that we can use to sell to employers. I think we need to reinvent the charter and engage with employers to ensure that chartered members get the top jobs. So I think we've lost out on that. It used to be that in some posts you had to be a chartered member to get the job. I'd love to see us being able to sell that back to some of the employers. But to do that and to grow the membership, I'll come back to saying what I said earlier, that we need to tackle some of the groups outside libraries, the people in regeneration, etc., that can see our value. So it does again come back to some sort of innovative promotion and marketing that I think we need to put our minds to deliver on this one.
Thank you very much, Liz. Mike?
I'm going to kick off by referring people to defining our professional future, because clearly we've got there an analysis from the membership of what they want, and I think we have to use that as a focus. I think we're quite clear that we need to focus on the services and the continuing professional development that members say they need, but also to develop and exploit that in terms of getting at those people that are not in membership. And perhaps, and I'll come back, perhaps we have to find a way of engaging existing membership to sign up, to link to people they know are not actively involved or have distanced themselves, to actually see if we can find ways of doing that. I think there are other sectors that we could look at, greater impact in terms of market intelligence, that sort of sector. Looking at information, advice and guidance, careers. I think there's a potential there because so much of that is about information management, etc. But there's not going to be any easy answers to this. I really do think people have been struggling with this, CILIP has been struggling with this for some time, and it's going to take a lot of hard work.
Thank you very much, Mike. Go to the far end of the table, to Sue Cook.
Yeah, it's sort of back to the history of CILIP and the automatic membership and the guaranteed income. I think that led to us not recognising for too long that we are in a marketplace. And, as times get tighter and people start losing their jobs, they start to make decisions about where they're putting the money. And Mike's right. I mean, that report, that survey, has told us exactly what members want, and it's up to us to make some sort of cohesive strategic plan out of what they have said, the membership said that they want. We need to be very, very clear about what we're offering, and we're not, and we never have been. And I can remember very early on when I had...
Speak up, Sue.
Sorry. Okay. When I was coming back into the profession after having a family, and I actually wrote to the education department, and I hastened to add there was nobody left that was around then. And I said, where do I go from chartership? And they said, well, it's nothing to do with us. You go to the RAA and find something else to do. And I was disgusted because I was proud of my charter, and I still am. And the comment about we don't now have posts that are ring-fenced to chartered people, again, I think was a backward step. Manchester was one of the last authorities to lose it, and it was bitterly resented by the staff. And the fact that you've got professional recognition within an organisation like this is evidenced by the number of people who have been in libraries for many, many years, and they've gone for their affiliateship, and they have been proud to do that, and they've moved on to a charter. And we have not made a lot of that. We have not been as proud of that as we should have been. People worked long and hard. Now once they were given the chance after Margaret Watson's innovations, and they will develop that. So I think we ought to stand by that, and we ought to say that we are proud of that, and we ought to promote it much more. CILIP's offer is not clear. It's too diverse. It's too diluted in lots of ways. Again, it's the problem. I think it's the sectors we work in tend to be all things to all people. And one of the things I think ought to be a priority is you get almost a checklist of what CILIP can and can't do for you. And I think once we get that clear at strategic level, people will have a much better basis on which to make decisions about membership.
Thank you. And finally, Sue Westcott, increasing membership, other sectors, professions engaging in it.
I think it partly comes back to the question that we answered before, actually. I think we have to talk about the right issues and we have to look successful. People won't join an organisation that doesn't talk about the things they're interested in and doesn't seem to succeed. I agree totally with Sue. I don't think we're clear about what our offer is. We give a lot of confused messages about why you should join CILIP and who should join CILIP. I'm quite often told by people people particularly wanting to be mentored through chartership who don't work in professional posts in a library say to me, well, CILIP won't let me do my chartership, will they, because I don't do a library job. And I spend a lot of time myth-busting that. And I'm pleased to say that they have mostly got through, and if they haven't got through, it's not been to do with the area of the work that they work in, it's to do with sometimes the quality of the portfolio. So I think there's these big issues we've got to deal with. We've got to think very carefully about how CILIP describes itself when it's responding to particular communities. If you're responding on the open public data paper, then you think about how CILIP describes itself in that context. And we don't always do that. there are some groups who will be perfectly happy to come along to a conference that's got library in the title. There are others that will head for the hills as fast as their little legs will carry them. So we need to think about the language. I don't think it matters which words you use, as long as you're cognizant of what they mean to the people you're trying to attract. I think the other thing that we need to do is, as I say, talk about the right issues. And I think there is something about, if CILIP is talking about big issues of public importance, then all sorts of people will want to be part of CILIP. And I think we just need to really think about that. In terms of groups that I would try and attract, it would be knowledge managers. There's increasing groups in local authorities, academia who work on freedom of information and data protection, who could probably do with, a professional body that helps them think through those issues. I know from doing freedom of information myself that sometimes the interests of the public and the interests of your organisation do not always come together, and having a professional body that sets out what my ethical standards are actually helps me make those decisions. So I think there are other communities that belong in this family, and I think it's actually for us to take an interest in what they're doing. And I think the problem with defining our professional future is that it is very good at representing what current members want. I don't think it was so successful at actually identifying what non-members want. And I know that's always difficult with services, but really for me that's the next stage. We've got to find out if there's a community out there that would like to be part of our professional body, and if so, on what terms they would want to join.